Hi, welcome to the Converging Zone. We have a special guest today. The story is staggering. The numbers are mind-boggling regarding sexual trafficking right here in our own streets in America. We've got Bob Smith with us from FACES, Freeing American Children from Sexual Exploitation and Sexual Slavery. Welcome with us today, Bob Smith. Bob, hey. Welcome.
Nice to be here.
You know, Bob, we had the opportunity to have dinner last night and talk about what you've been doing, which is an amazing work with these young girls. Tell us how you got started in this whole idea of helping these young girls that have been enslaved into this lifestyle.
Well, like you, I was a San Diego police officer, and I was just kind of oblivious to this industry until we got a call of 11 girls in La Jolla that had been basically sold. They had been conned into a modeling agency, and then they were sold, and they were, instead of going to Paris for a photo shoot, they were going to Turkey forever. And it really opened up my eyes to what's going on here in America. And eventually we started helping kids and rescuing kids after I retired from the PD. And ever since then, it's been a total blast and just rewarding, but yet heartbreaking at the same time.
I was staggered by the numbers, and you didn't even really bring out the numbers that you and I have discussed. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the numbers and how are we coming up with these numbers and estimates of that this is actually happening to American young girls. Yep. As early as 8, 9, 10 years old.
Right. It's the number 3 growing crime here in the United States, and it's absolutely out of control. There's a lot of numbers being thrown out there, and I've tried to maintain some integrity with those numbers by coming up with facts, like what the FBI recovered. And I based it on some numbers that the FBI recovered in 2009. And those numbers equate to, because we all know that law enforcement only recovers a small portion of what's going on. But that's just the FBI, let alone sheriffs, social services. And our estimate is somewhere between 80,000 and 120,000 girls, American girls, being trafficked here in the United States. It's unbelievably out of control.
Are there areas that seem to be more prevalent for this type of trafficking, where the girls are being taken or then shipped other places? Is there certain pockets of areas that?
There are pockets, but the truth is it's really widespread, and there's no real pattern. I mean, obviously you have your coastal cities that are probably a little higher in volume, but you have, Toledo is a hub, and it's like, Toledo, give me a break, and then you have, I'm sure small towns like, in Kansas, things like that are going to be minimal, but anywhere there's a city, anywhere where there's, strip clubs or bars or, the need or the demand for this, it's growing very rapidly. And it's the big misconception is that these girls are troubled. Right. And that's not the case. I mean, the girls that we recovered, probably only 30% are troubled teens. Most of them are just normal kids getting ripped right off the street, or coerced, or threatened, or intimidated into what they call the game.
How are these girls recovered? When they are brought to you, mm-hmm. How are they recovered? We have friends that work with a group called the Defender mm-hmm. Foundation up in Seattle. How are they recovered? A lot of times they work with law enforcement officers. How are typically these girls found? Yeah,
typically it is law enforcement. It's typically local law enforcement. Although the FBI does get involved in quite a few. We get a lot of referrals of girls from the FBI. Okay. The problem is you have 180 to 120,000 girls out there, but when you count the facilities that are designed specifically to take care of these girls, you've got a handful. So maybe less than 50 beds. So it's just ridiculous. And awareness is important, but awareness can be counterproductive if there's no place to put the girl, because then law enforcement's more sensitive to recovering the girl, but has no place to put them. Right. So these girls are getting victimized by the system on top of everything else, where they're getting thrown in juvenile hall. You're 13 years old, you've been picked up for prostitution, and you're thrown in juvenile hall when you're the victim. Right. We're kind of twisted this way.
We've got to revamp the system. We'll talk about some of these laws. Where are these kids typically from?
Well, that's another misconception. Everybody thinks that they're, maybe, from a poorer family, but I've got pastors' kids, police officers' kids, A-list actors' kids. There's no boundary. They're getting anyone they can get, and so, if their target is 10 to 13 years old. And think about it. If you're a 10 to 13-year-old and somebody comes up intimidating, we had one girl that was taken right off the streets of San Diego, taken down to Mexico, sold to a pimp down there, and then brutalized because she wasn't cooperating. They threw her in a closet until she finally gave up, and then they put her out on the street. And then when the State Department recovered her and brought her across the border, then they called us, and we ended up taking her. And these girls are suffering cognitive damage. I mean, because of just the brutal victimization that they're going through. It's really
and having a child's mind and having to process.
Yeah.
I mean,
their trust issues are completely shot. When we get them, most of the girls won't speak for weeks, if not months. And they are always asking us, why are you doing this? And we say, because we care. We won't tell them that we love them, because, not in the beginning, because the pimps do that. They go, I love you, baby, and they twist the word so that the girl understands love as something completely different. Right. And so it's really, you have to be careful how you treat the girls, and you've got to just say, we care about you, and they, well, what do you want from me? We don't want anything. And it takes them months to finally open up and go, wow, you really are committed to me. And that's just showing the love of Christ and being committed to unconditional love. They don't get that.
Yeah.
They don't get it.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions regarding human trafficking here in the United States?
Well, I think the number one is that it's happening here. Everybody thinks it's in India and Thailand. Or
that we're bringing girls in.
Exactly.
From other countries.
Exactly, but no, it's right here in America, and it's growing very rapidly. And the other misconception is that these are troubled teens and that they put themselves in a spot. Yes, there are some girls that have done that. But still,
Small
if you
percentages?
if you run away, it doesn't give people the right to do this to you. The other misconception is that there's some sort of economical or geographical limitation, and there's none. And then there's another misconception on how the girls get recruited. And the truth is they're getting recruited in probably 5 to 10 different ways.
What are some of those ways?
Well, one way is a boyfriend. The guy will pretend to be a boyfriend, and like one of the girls we recovered, I'll kind of share her story. She was a student, good parents, dated this guy that she thought was 17, but he was actually 25. And he was actually dating a bunch of girls because he's a recruiter. So one day he sells her, without her knowing it. They go to a party at a house. He leaves. She gets taken into a back room, raped, beaten, and now that they know her family, because the guy's been dating her, they threatened her younger 14-year-old brother and said, look, we'll kill him if you don't work for us. So this girl would sneak out at night and be prostituted, and then sneak back in the morning, have breakfast with her mom, go to school, and pretend like nothing happened. And of course that didn't last long before she just kind of unraveled. But now she's gone through our program, she's in college, she's absolutely doing stellar, and it's such a blessing.
She's got hope in her life.
That's the exact word she used. She said, I have hope now.
Wow.
So it's amazing. You'll actually see it in the video.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we're going to show the video in a minute here. We talked about the profile of a typical traffic, or we talked about it last night. Mm-hmm. Tell us, the audience, what is a typical profile? Is there a typical profile?
No, there really isn't. I think that they're looking for young girls. They're looking because that is the demand, the market demand. I think that if I believe personally that we could reduce this by a huge margin if we would change the laws regarding the Johns. And if you guys don't know what a John is, it's the person who goes out and solicits the girl. Not the pimp, but the customer, so to speak. And they call them Johns. And if most of us, you and I, will go 5, 10 over the speed limit.
Right.
Won't even think about it. But you and I won't go 50 over because we know the consequences are going to be too steep.
Severe, yeah.
Well, it's the same thing in this. If there's no consequences. If a guy gets caught with a 12-year-old in having sex with her, he's going to do 12 to 18 years. But if he solicits a girl on the street who's 13, he goes to basically the equivalent of traffic school, which is ridiculous. And so she's victimized, he gets off, and there's no consequences. So we need to change the laws that really prohibit a John from even thinking about going there.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to ask the audience if any of you guys know how we can initiate such laws. We'd love your help. So contact us, because I think that, did you say we estimated 60% reduction in these opportunities for these girls if there were severe penalties for the ones that purchased these girls?
I really believe it would be huge. The percentage would be huge, because right now there's just no incentive not to do it. So,
wow.
and
well, we got to change that.
Absolutely.
Now talk about your place that you have for them, which is an amazing place that we can't disclose where it is, but it's amazing in Southern California. And God provided for it for you guys. Tell us about the place and some of the obstacles you're facing in taking care of these girls.
Well, it's obviously very expensive to take care of these girls. If you donate $40 to a girl in India or Thailand, you're covered. She's covered. It doesn't work here in the United States like that. You got to add a couple zeros, and so it's about $4,000. So it's expensive, but this provides her clothing, her care, her counseling, her all the programs. It's about normalizing these girls and socializing them and building trust in them, because they don't have any. Yeah. They're not entitled like a troubled teen. A troubled teen will have a lot of entitlement issues. Some of these girls will, but most of them don't have the entitlement issue. They're trustworthy. You can take them wherever you want to go. They're appreciative of us rescuing them. Their attitudes are different. They're motivated in school. It's really refreshing. And I actually didn't expect that when we first started this. I expected a lot more hostility. We've had almost 100% of the girls, I think it is actually 100% of the girls that have been with us for more than 4 months have all made a decision for Christ.
Wow.
And we are very careful not to manipulate them, because we feel that they've already been manipulated, on the street. And it's just been amazing. I had 4 girls come up to me and said, "Will you baptize me?" And I'm like, awesome. That's just so awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So, but you build relationships with these girls. These are normal girls when you get them down to past all the grief and the trauma that they've been through. They're just sweethearts.
Let's take the time right now to take a look at a video of some of the girls' responses and what they found to be true on the land.
Cool.
Every child deserves a chance. However, every day here in America, many are denied a normal childhood because of human trafficking. Faces reaches out to these children, providing a loving Christian support system that will help heal the wounds and restore lives.
I never would have got out of the situation I was in if I hadn't come here.
Then once I got here and I started to get to know everybody, I love being here, because I'm being able to interact with people, and people who've been through the same thing I've been through, so it's easier to talk to them about stuff.
This is a great place. They offer a lot of things.
I'm really, really ahead in school, so I'll be a high school graduate by the time my school class starts their senior year, which is so exciting. You have no idea. It's really cool. So I can go home and start college, which I wasn't going to do before, but have a community college picked out. And I'm going to do that and then transfer to a UC. So I'm excited for that. My dream school. I have a lot of hope. Yeah. Something I didn't have before, and I've got it while being here. So that's a really good thing.
Faces needs your support to help care for these precious young ones who have had their innocence stolen. To learn more about Faces, visit them at faces.org. Faces, returning freedom and restoring enslaved hearts.
Wow.
Pretty amazing, huh?
The touching hope.
Yeah.
You just seen this young gal, you could just see hope coming forth out of her life. And she says she found it there.
I can't
She
imagine
found it on the land.
I can't imagine the despair that these girls go through when they're in the midst of this bondage, and then to have that ability to, one of the girls that was interviewed there said, this place is safe. No one can find me here, and that's one of the best things about it. Yeah. Because they're just always looking over their shoulder. These guys would kill these girls in a heartbeat. They're testifying against them. Some of these guys are doing anywhere from 40 to life, for trafficking girls. and they're scared. So
Now you're in a discreet area, and you know it's kept quiet. Do you have to have security on the land?
Yeah, we definitely have security. We don't talk about the location. My name's not really Bob, you know. So
I know that.
Yours is, but not mine.
No, never call me Bob.
Oh, no.
Always Rob or Robert, never Bob.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And people know that know me, never Bob. Anyway.
So, but yeah, it's just all, I mean, I hate to be melodramatic about it, but the thing is, it's all about protecting the girls.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 girls right now that if the slaveholders, we call them slaveholders, not pimps, because it implies the girl's a prostitute and she's not. She's a victim, so we call them slaveholders. But these guys, they would definitely hurt these girls if they knew where they were. And so when we take them to court, we have retired police officers go with us, armed. The courts let us come in armed. Yeah. We sit with the girl just to keep her safe and feel safe. That's the big thing, to feel safe.
Well, you know, you were in law enforcement for many years. And, you know, there's a part of me, this warrior within me, when I see these innocent, precious young daughters of God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's this, I guess, this violence comes over me.
Yeah.
And I want to. I know we always relinquish it to the justice system.
Yeah.
But how do you keep from wanting to just take these guys and?
It's a lot of self-control.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does. It gets very difficult at times. You just see the evil that this is, you know, I see it as it starts with evil. And I think that goes to the value of human life.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it's all about the money. They don't care. You know, they're just a product. And to see that just causes anger in me. But I think the release I get is caring for the girls and seeing them respond and seeing them blossom. That just gives me so much joy, and it's just an amazing job, and I love it. It's a great ministry, and our thing is we just want to rescue more girls. We want to rescue as many as we can.
Tell us how many girls that you have, and tell us what are some of the things that you're looking to do for these girls and bringing some of the new girls in. I guess there's a waiting list.
Yeah, the FBI's been bugging us. Homeland Security's been bugging us to take girls that are foreign. We can't really do that at this point, but you know, it's money. You know, it's about, you know, funding the girls as they come in. We have 6 that want in right now, and we just took one in, I think, the day before yesterday. And it's what's really hard on me is I interview every girl. And because there's certain girls, and I won't get into it too much, but there's certain girls I won't take because they're either too damaged, too psychological, or they've been too hardened, and we just feel like we're not going to have the opportunity to help them. But when you get on the phone with a 13-year-old who says, "Please help me, take me, please rescue me," and you're like, "Okay, well, I'll see if we have the money," it kills me. Absolutely kills me. It's really difficult to sit there and not take this girl. And, you know, I've gotten into trouble a couple times with my board because I'll just take a girl. I'm just like, I'm not going to say no to this 12-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not going to happen. So, you know, one of the biggest things is that we're off grid. We have a lot of expenses. The property's quite large. We can handle up to 200 girls.
Wow.
So we're the largest in the nation. We've had a tremendous amount of success with the girls, and that's just super rewarding. But we have an equestrian program. We have other companies that come in and provide counseling. Just all these different things about normalizing them and socializing them has worked very well. But you cannot treat these girls like troubled teens. It just won't happen.
You know, we're going to let the audience know how to get in touch with you, how they can contribute. You know, I just want to address the audience. You know, wow, what greater way to